Good morning, gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. Now, yesterday, well, it was actually last night, I was having a very interesting conversation with some guy, okay? I was basically talking to him about the fact that I was dropping out of university, okay? So that I can pursue this as a career, something that I want to do, something I want to make a full-time income from. So, I was saying, yeah, I'm dropping out of university so I can kind of work on my business and this stuff, and mentioning how it's going and stuff like that. And he said some very interesting things I thought I'd actually bring up as part of a video, and something that I can teach to you lot as well, because he's absolutely right. He was saying, he's ran businesses himself, and yeah, we were just talking about, he was obviously just giving me advice about things, about how to start a business, how to get up and running. Because as I've said to you boys before, I'm not perfect. I'm not by no means an expert in this at all just yet. I'm still learning myself. I'm just teaching you boys exactly what I have learned, and I'm teaching you boys based off the experiences that I've gone through. Okay. And he was saying, things like, yeah, no, do you really need a degree to help someone? No. So long as you can get that person to trust you, and trust you can get them the results, and trust that you can get them to exactly where they want to be, they will give you their hard-earned money. Okay. And that's something very interesting, because it's a lot, what's the whole reason that people go to school nowadays and go to university and you get all these degrees? We want to get a degree so that it proves that we know what we're talking about. That's the whole point of a degree. If that, if that wasn't so meaningful, we wouldn't need degrees, would we? But you don't need a degree to really show someone that you know what you're doing and that you know what you're talking about, do you? You can literally even show the progress that you've made. You can show the results. That's what I do. I've shown my results in a specific area. Say, for example, my physique. Okay, I've built a pretty good physique. I'm lean. I'm quite muscular. I mean, I'm not the biggest guy in the world. I'm not some bodybuilder, but I've built a lean, muscular, athletic, and healthy physique. That's what I've done, and I can teach other people how to do the same thing, because I've done it, and therefore I know how to do it. I haven't got a degree in it. I do actually have qualifications in sport. However, I don't use them, and I don't advertise them, because I don't need them. Okay, you don't need them to show that you know what you're talking about. If you've got the experience and you've got the results there to show, you therefore know what you're talking about. And obviously, anyone that's ever worked with me or reached out to me or asked me a question know that I do know what I'm talking about. Okay. I'll have a young man who will reach out to me and say, yeah, I need you to train me so I can build more muscle, get a muscular physique. I'll train him for a month or two, however long it takes. Bang. Okay. I'll work with him personally to make sure that, everything's on point, his diet, his workouts, everything that I'll make sure that everything he's doing is correct to make sure he gets a good physique. All right. And I can do the exact same thing for you. If you DM me the word win, okay, and we'll jump on a free coaching call. We'll discuss your goals. We'll discuss what you want to achieve. And we'll go from there, okay? We'll come up with an action plan, a protocol for you. And then I will begin to work with you personally and very closely to make sure that you achieve that goal, okay? So if you want that, go down the link below, go onto my Instagram and DM the word win, okay? That's all you have to do. And then I'll get back to you as soon as possible, okay? But yeah, it's a very interesting concept, having a conversation with someone who actually knows what they're talking about in terms of business, because there's a lot of people who I talk to and they say, oh yeah, now you need education, you need university. And obviously I was in university as something I wasn't necessarily pushed into it, but I was kind of playing on that idea that everyone thinks that it's the right thing to do. So I was kind of being a people pleaser, and as I've developed and matured as a person, I've realized that I'm not going to be able to do that anymore. I can't be a people pleaser. I have to do what I want to do. I have to be my own person. I have to go and get what I want and achieve what I want. Yeah. And having a conversation with a person about this who knows what they're talking about is actually very inspiring. It was a very inspiring. Who's like saying, you don't even have to start big. You don't have to start massive. You can just get some of your friends, train them up, take them to a gym, do this with them, and charge them for that. Take the friendship aside. You're starting a business. You charge them for your services. Okay, you don't have to go become a qualified trainer or qualified anything. You can just go and take your friends to you can even take your friends to a park and train them and just pay and fucking charge them for that. Do you know what I mean? Like, business is where you have to start somewhere. This is exactly what I've had to go through and what I'm still going through. You know, you have to start somewhere. You have to start small almost. Yeah. That's what, you know, you boys that are trying to look at maybe starting YouTube as a way to advertise or market your products or whatever. Make sure you just start in small, okay? Don't go in there massively thinking, right, I'm going to go sell some like 10 grand products, because you haven't really proven yourself yet, and you haven't shown people that you know what you're talking about yet, and you haven't proven to people that they can trust you. Therefore, they're not going to give you their hard-earned money, are they? People are only going to give you their hard-earned money when they believe that you can get them the results that you say you can, okay? So don't go in there like trying to sell some 10 grand or 1 grand products. Because I've done that before, you know. I think, you know, at the start, I was trying to sell like big money things to try and, you know, sort of try and get the money in, but it's not how it works, is it? You know, you have to start very small, lower your ego a little bit, and just start, you know, charging low prices and getting lots of people in. You know, start taking your friends, start looking for people who you can instantly get money from straight away. Okay, just to get the ball rolling, so that you're not sat in, and you're not stuck in the rut where like you're not getting any sales or whatever. Because I was in that exact same position, bro. I never thought about this at all. It's very eye-opening actually talking to someone else and just getting some feedback off someone else. Don't always think that you know it all, okay? Don't try and do it alone. Or always look for other opinions, look for other viewpoints, look for help. There's nothing wrong with still learning, bro, whilst learning on the job. I'm still learning. But like I said, I'm still learning whilst being able to teach you boys what I've done. Teaching you boys the progress that I have made, okay? I can teach you boys exactly how to, you know, get the ball rolling in a business, how to do this, YouTube, how to speak on camera, how to be more confident, yeah? How to market properly. I've done this, I know how to do this, okay? Again, not perfect, but I can teach you my progress. And that's the whole point. That's why you should never aim for perfection all the time, you know? Well, I'll rephrase that. You can aim for perfection, but just don't expect it, okay? Because if you're aiming for perfection, you're going to make the most progress, aren't you? In anything, okay? Whether it's sales, you know, making money, business, whatever. Getting a good physique, social skills, dating women. You can always aim for perfection. You're never going to get there because it's impossible to get to perfection, isn't it? No one can be perfect. But if you do that, you'll make the most progress possible, all right? So yeah, make sure you're opening your mind to other people's perspectives and opinions, and because that's something I've rarely done in my life. I've always thought I know best, and that's where you develop as a person. Okay, speaking to someone, you know, about this subject who's done this before, you know, ran a business before, and just saying, yeah, bro, you know, you don't need this qualification. You know, you can go out there and start your business from scratch. You know, you can go out there and just make small little wins. You know, rack up the small wins. Yeah. So long as you can get people to trust you, okay, you do not need a qualification. And you know what I will say to you guys is that if you even have, you know, if you have a skill or something you're good at, it doesn't matter what it is, okay. Go something very small, okay. You know what is there something in your life that you are good at, that you can do, that you can potentially sell to other people, okay. Have you got a good physique? All right? Are you able to train people? Okay. Are you an attractive guy? Are you, you know, can you teach people how to become attractive, how to become healthy? Can you teach people how to get glowing skin? Okay, clear skin that has no acne on it. Are you good at making money? Can you teach people how to make money? Well, what are you good at? Okay, there's something that you guys are probably good at that you can go and teach to someone else. And you don't have to go straight away, jump in there and start going, right, you need to pay me 10 grand, all right? That's not how it works at all, bro. You can go in there and you know, sell them something for a really small price to get the ball rolling, like £4 or something. I don't know, bro. Whatever it might be. That's where you thinking for yourself comes in, okay? Start thinking for yourself a little bit. Be free thinking individuals. Don't always just listen to everyone else. Okay? When it comes to your life, make sure you're tailoring everything to you and what you want to achieve. All right. So yeah, have you got something that you're good at? Have you got a skill? Okay. Something you've been good at for ages, and I bet you've never thought that you could sell it, could you? You've never thought about making it a business or making it monetizable. I bet you've never thought about it, bro. So, and you know, you probably have if you're thinking about, you know, starting a business, if you're thinking about making money, if you're in that stage of your life, because, you know, everyone eventually in their life, if you're a young man with high testosterone, you want to start making money. Okay, that's exactly true. So that's something you're gonna have to go through. You're gonna have to think, right, what can I sell? What am I good at? What skills have I got? What can I provide to the world? Okay, That is your starting point. Once you've thought about that, then you can be like, right, how can I tell it? How can I teach this? You know, what can I sell? What products can I sell? Then, you know, how can I make people want to buy this stuff? Okay. What are the things I need to do? What are the things I need to say? How do I need to say it? All these things, you need to think about it all, okay? You need to think about all of it, and I've had to think about all of it, and I've had to learn all of it, and I've had to learn it the hard way, okay? But again, if any of you guys do have any questions about it, you can ask me on Instagram, okay? I don't mind. Ask me the question on Instagram. Ask me on Telegram if you want. I'm on Telegram as well. That's also in the link below, okay? If you want to ask me any questions about, you know, my progress in YouTube, my progress with business, whatever, ask me, okay? I'll be always happy to help. Because this is a journey, bro. This is a journey I'm on. I'm not one of those, like, you know, gurus that kind of comes on Instagram and they're like, oh yeah, I've done this, I've made all my money, you know, now I'm the master in this subject, so now I'm gonna, you know, I'm gonna sell it to you lot. No, I'm authentic. I'm gonna be real with you lot. I'm gonna share my journey with you lot. I'm gonna tell you my progress. All right. I'm not gonna come on there and make out like I'm an expert all the time. I'm still building this, okay? I've just made progress, and I've made, you know, great large steps in my life to where I can teach you, okay? I can teach you what I know. I can teach you the knowledge that I know through my experience, okay? That's all it is. There's always someone 1 or 2 steps below you, and you can teach them, all right? That's all it is. And I want to help you lot. I want to see you lot succeed. That's what I love doing. I love helping people. That's exactly why I made the decision to drop out of education and do this, okay? So I've got more time to do this, to help people. I love that. That feeling that you've really made someone achieve their goal, that you've helped someone get there. That's such a proud feeling, bro. One of the best feelings in the world. Being able to interact with you boys personally. So, you know, talking to you about your lives, getting to know you boys on a personal level, and then helping you is unbelievable, okay? It's amazing. And it's something that if you want to do and you're able to do, go and do it, bro, honestly. It's an amazing thing, all right? I love helping people, so always, you know, don't ever be afraid to ask me a question. Okay, boys? All right, boys. I hope that was helpful, I hope that was insightful, and I hope that was inspiring, okay? Get people to trust you, no matter, you know, you do not need a qualification, and you'll be on your way, bro. Look for little ways to sort of get the ball rolling and whatever it is. This isn't even just business I'm talking about. This can be anything, okay? Dating, you know, just go and how are you going to get the ball rolling in dating? Walk past a girl and just maintain eye contact with her. Start small like that. Maintain eye contact with the girl, smile or whatever, then progress it. I mentioned progressive overload in my last video to do with social skills. You can apply that to dating. You can apply that to anything, okay? You can apply that to life, okay? So with making money, it might just be, you know, taking your friend to a park to train him, to do him a session, and you charge him £5-10 or whatever. Just get something rolling, get the ball rolling, okay? Then that friend of yours can then go and say, yo, this guy, actually, my friend, he led me a session. It was amazing. And I paid him for it, and it was completely worth it, and it was sick, and we had so much fun, yeah? Just little small things like that, okay? Just to get it going. All right, boys, it doesn't have to be perfect at first. Imperfect action is always better than no action at all, because that's where you learn, that's where you progress, and that's where you make the baby steps. Okay, boys? Hope that was helpful for you, and I'll see you in a bit.